You see, Peanut Butter Gamer had a personal update. Did you see this? Have you heard about this?
Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
In his short video, he said everything that Bimmy ever meant to say. I'm older. I got kids now. The content will change. He said, like, I've been doing it for 15 years. My content hasn't changed much in 15 years. Lately, I've been doing a thing where I just film whatever suits my fancy. I throw it to a slob. The slob edits it, and it goes onto a lower effort channel where you're less likely to unsubscribe.
I have an amazing editor on that channel named Toasty. I basically just come up with ideas, I record them, and I send them off to him, and I know that whatever I send, he will make 5 times better. So that has worked really well for my current lifestyle.
It reminded me of our friends Hayden and Jason. They do a podcast called Waiting for Nintendo. They had a segment not so long ago called like the low effort pipeline, about how it's inevitable that higher effort YouTubers eventually start producing lower effort content because they're more incentivized to do so.
What's the most famous like brazen example of this? Like Game Grumps or something? That's a big one.
Honestly, probably. I mean, you have people who are making amazing videos that everyone loves, and then they pivot to do something that's a little lower effort, and it's just an experiment at first, but the experiment goes well, it gets picked up, and it starts doing...
It's wildly more profitable than what your main thing is, because you realize that once you get to a certain status, the person and not necessarily the content is the draw.
I don't want to poo-poo somebody for like, okay, for 5 to 10 years, I gave you my life, and now like, let me do a podcast or let me do a Scott Stash or whatever. Especially because like the platform of YouTube, right? It's nonfiction, and it's like, just give me content. You know, I just want to hang out with my favorite creator for a little while longer. So like for a lot of personality driven content, I don't think the audience is like, could you please edit it a lot?
Yeah, it's like, do I really need to be giving myself like a ton of carpal tunnel just to like...
Yeah.
Do they want me to suffer and do everything myself?
Do you think that when the higher effort stuff is more rare, the pressure is more on?
Yeah, pressure's on to always perform, always, you know, I mean, even like, you know, we see with Bimmy, it's like we're scrutinizing every episode.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's not do it. This is bad. It's like, who wants to do that? Who wants to do that forever?
Not me. Yeah, I you know, obviously, like JonTron is he makes a video or two a year or something. So it's always interesting about him is his videos are he's like, oh, since you haven't seen me in a while, I'm going to put out some mega video or something. You know, it's just a normal JonTron video. Typically just takes a while to put anything out. So it makes it like event viewing. But then other, you know, the H-Bomber guys of the world, they'll make 6 to 8 hour videos, and you get one of those a year or something. And they make their whole living on like the performance of that one video.
Yeah. Tim Rogers like put out like a 9-hour video. It's like, okay.
I feel like I learned after making the cannibal video, I was like, fuck all these 6-hour videos. I was like, I did it in 1 hour and 10, and I packed a lot of content into it. I mean, like I cover ground in that video. It's tightly scripted, tightly edited. I'm thoughtful about how to pair visuals with audio. So you tell the story quickly, show where you can instead of tell. 6 hours.
Well, even like, Did You Know Gaming has been doing like a bunch of like little mini docs. It's kind of like picking up where Gaming Historian left off, and maybe making them like slightly lower effort, which is nice. But like, it's the same kind of content, but they always make them like under 1 hour, and I think that's perfect. So with Peanut Butter Gamer, were you ever a fan? Did you watch his videos at all? He's kind of like in the JonTron vein, you know, like especially back in the day when he did video tell you. But I did catch a few. Like I caught Peanut Butter Gamer a little bit later, so he had like that's the perfect when they have a backlog. You go through a bunch of them, and then you feel like you never have to watch them ever again.
Yeah, like I've experienced him. Why is that his name? Why peanut butter?
I don't know. I didn't watch that many, but
like I never got to the peanut butter part.
Well, I think it's like it's like anything. People have handles at the time. Maybe they still do.
Yeah, you just run with it, right?
And you just run with it. I thought his stuff was funny. Like like definitely high effort. And like there was one video where he reviews trash iPhone games, and there was one that he reviewed. It was like baby stomach surgery, and it just like I think that's probably the hardest I've laughed at a YouTube video, because I was just like, this is ridiculous. His reactions were perfect. It's it's that kind of thing.
Baby sleep, baby brush bath book dream, Barbie face injury, Barbie's face is injury, LP, baby spaceman, baby make spaceman.
But yeah, and then now going forward, he said he's going to obviously still do the lower effort stuff, but he's going to like experiment a little. He said like just making maybe stuff that's not as scripted, maybe a little more experimental, and topic. They always say like, "Oh, I'm going to cover topics you may not know," and then they just like cover Nintendo. Who knows?
Let's compare Mario Galaxy to Mario Galaxy 2.
I mean, obviously, I'll probably talk about Nintendo, etc. I do want to try some other new topics.
One thing that I also did like about Peanut Butter Gamer, he would do like Zelda month, where he would like cover like Zelda for the whole month. So he was outputting a lot of stuff at the time too. So
I don't know him. I was linked to it basically, where it was like, look, instead of doing what Bimmy did, somebody, Super Ant made the joke of, he's like, and somehow he resisted the urge to call all of his fans assholes.
Yeah, he did. He didn't say that he was like, even if you hate my content, like, I thank you. It's like, wow, cool, gratitude.
Hopefully you'll enjoy it, and even if you don't, I still appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you so much for the support over all these years again.
There was like a clip I saw recently of like Seinfeld on Howard Stern, and he was like, I've tried to find ways that to not directly insult the audience. And he said, I was doing a bit about there's no such thing as an urgent phone call because look at you, you're not important. And then he's like, and people will be a little offended, and he's like, then I changed it where I said, like, think of all the people you know. Are these important people? And he's like, same joke, but I'm not directly insulting the audience. And I was just thinking about like politics, entertainers. You do always have to figure out a way, even when you're divisive, to not directly insult the people you're speaking to.
I was doing this bit about that there's no important calls. You know how you know the call's not important? They're calling you. The audience would start to laugh, and then it would hurt them. They felt hurt. Right. So then I started doing this thing. There's no important calls. First of all, the people you know, they're not important people. That gets a laugh. Same joke.
Of the asshole-ish variety. And that immediately makes you think of like, oh, I'm the asshole?
Am I of that variety? Yeah, it was a miscalculation, unfortunately, but a glorious one that launched 1,000 ships. 1,000 episodes of a podcast. Well, another thing that's kind of interesting is when the low effort content becomes high effort. So that's sort of happened to us, right? Well, we'll do a Patreon podcast. Well, we'll do some clips. Well, maybe we'll edit the clips. And before long, like this, because I think what's really happening there is it's low effort because you're experimenting. And then if the experiment works, then you want to build that new thing that worked. And then maybe you were hesitant to leave the old thing that was working adequately or sufficiently. So I think that can happen sometimes as well.
Yeah, you're a creative person, so you want to put the effort in.
Especially if it's working.
Especially if it's working and there's enthusiasm.
I think of Scott Stash is a good example of that, where it's clear he just wanted to like put his collection down on a carpet and film it and like talk with his hands. And then before long, the whole thing got like very edited. But if he's anything like, I know he has slobs. If he's anything like us, you find that lower effort stuff where it's like, well, just cut in clips to illustrate the points. That actually is more easily outsourced. So yeah, it's like you can build certain kinds of content that are more easily outsourced to different kinds of editors or different levels of skill editors. It sounds like that's the case for Peanut Butter Gamer. I don't know if I don't know if Scott Lawaz still edits his main channel content, but I could see him doing that. Like I'll do the main channel because they're more seldom, and then you guys do all this other stuff. But I have no doubt in my mind that I would assume that the lower effort stuff is more lucrative because it's more frequent and they're long. That Scott Stash stuff goes on for an hour and 10 minutes sometimes. So I'm going to mention every single Zelda game, It's going to take a long time. And Scott Lawaz, he finds a way to talk about like the same 5 Nintendo properties. Now I'm going to talk about their mini consoles. Now I'm going to talk about Mario. Now I'm going to talk about this Mario over here. Now I'm going to talk about Mario 3D titles that are lesser well known. Now I'm going to talk about 2D in the era of 3D. There's a lot of videos to talk about like the same kind of orbit, but it's so people love those properties, man.
Yeah, I mean, and there is a lot to say about them.
Yeah, you could go on, right? How many? What's the joke? Like, how many video essays about Majora's Mask are out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that one more than Ocarina? If you had to guess?
Yeah, probably. Just because it's the stereotypical weird one. It's kind of vague, so you can like read into a bunch of stuff, and there's a lot of characters, and they all have their own little stories. So there's a lot to pull apart. I think that's probably why.
And I'll even address a few complaints of the asshole-ish variety.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.